It's no surprise that I love CrossCode. Having over 40 episodes of the game on my YouTube channel, I've seen and experienced its various players and NPCs, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I've grown rather attached to more than just the 4 main characters in the story, those 4 being Leah, Emily, Citron, and Sergey. Thus, I've decided to make a small list detailing my favorite characters in CrossCode. Of course, this only leads up to the 0.9.8 patch, as the rest of the story is still in the works. I don't really think I'll make this a top number video, because they'd all be number 1 for me in their own respective ways, so I think I'll just name them off in no real order. Well, either that or just place them all at number 1. I don't know. Would that work? Sure, let's say every single character in this list is number 1 in my heart. I'll admit, I'm a little bad at specifically stating why I love characters. I've always seemed to have that problem. They're just a bunch of small things that characters usually do that help me love them. But, for the sake of the video's runtime, I'll do my best to keep the reasonings to a few paragraphs at best. Well, without further ado, let's start the list. She's enthusiastic, cocky, friendly, and very expressive. It's no surprise that Leah's on this list. Everything about her, from her design, to the backstory, to even about what personality we can see in her vast array of emotions, just hits me in my heart and makes me care about her in the same way that the main and sidekick Pokemon from the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games do. The amnesia that she's faced with at the start of her adventure only fuels her determination to figure out her past, and it really does show through pretty much everything story-related Leah does in the game. I really love seeing all of her interactions with everyone, whether it be characters, NPCs, or even herself. It all shows off just how well she's developed over the course of the story as a character. While little is known about who she really is as a person up to this point, the fine devs at Rad Fish Games managed to make a main character that shows a very broad range of emotions and personality, despite Leah basically being mute. We can't say for sure on what she'd be like if she could talk fully, but perhaps it's better to have her expressive self be the driving force in her characterization. Naturally, my favorite character in the game, right beside Leah and Citron, Emily, or the Emelinator, is a hyped up and competitive pentafist with a knack for racing Leah, and later Citron, in dungeons. Emily is a very good girl in everything she does, and I can't help but love her for every single one of her many interactions with almost everything. She's a country gal that loves cows and absolutely despises bugs, much to the entertainment of myself. That's not to say I like seeing her traumatized, it's just a little funny to me. However, her perpetual enthusiasm is one of the many, many reasons she deserves a spot on this list. I could probably make a video in and of itself describing all the times I smiled or gasped with joy at her antics, but I won't. Oh hey, it's your boy Ronnie. One can't be surprised that I included this nerdy nerd in the list for my favorites. He's quite a soft and shy boy in personality, and his love for ice cream is a bit, well, worrisome to say the least. But his moves in combat are among my favorite in the game. Every time he casts his magic, I can't help but feel more motivated to fight better. He's just so lovable and precious to me. Plus, I mean, look at him. Then look at me. There isn't much difference between a hexacath and a mage like myself. And he more than deserves a spot on my favorite characters. Our favorite programmer. Sergey is among the first people you meet, and from the get-go, he's one helpful fellow. His list of accomplishments includes helping Leah start the game, programming words for her, and giving her tidbits of crossworld knowledge on a regular basis. He's a bit of a crossworld nerd, but I'm not saying that's bad. He's been really good to Leah, and I like people that are good to her. Apollo was more of a light entry into this list, if I'm being honest. I pondered whether I liked him or not for a short while. He's a fellow Spheromancer to Leah that tends to have an overdramatic flair to everything he does. While at first, I disliked him because of his borderline mean and assuming attitude towards Leah, I realized that the game would feel a lot more barren without him in the picture due to everything that happens afterwards. His theatrics are entertaining to say the least, and after realizing why he constantly duels Leah, I can respect him in his desire to see a fellow Spheromancer succeed, and become the best that those two rivals can be. I also rather enjoy his fights. They're insanely difficult and rely more on skill than flailing around, hitting the enemy until it explodes. In hindsight, and with enough thought, I concluded that I do like him enough to consider him a favorite after all. Calling all members of the Teleport Girl fan club, Best Girl has arrived. I bet not too many of you guys know about this great gal. Easily the most dedicated NPC in the game, Teleport Girl was an NPC that worked like the landmark system before that very system was implemented around update 0.3.5. Just run up to her and talk, then be teleported to any known landmark at the time. Was as easy as that. I kinda miss her now, as fast travel has actually been implemented. But I'll always remember you, Teleport Girl. You'll always be number one in my heart. Flynn is the leader of the First Scholars, and from the moment I saw her interact with Leah and Emily, she immediately became a favorite of mine. She's a very kind person that treats everyone there fairly, and is very quick to befriend Leah and Emily. She's especially nice towards Leah, Emily, and Citron, as they're newbies, and I especially love how mindful she is about Leah's speech malfunction. I really can't wait to see more Flynn in the game once the 1.0 patch goes live. Yet another member of the First Scholars, Buggy is quite a character. Not only is he probably the most laid-back character in Crossworld, he also seems to be a bit of a troll, poking fun wherever and whenever he can, and laughing to himself about it. I really love his design and the fact he's such a calm guy. I personally can't wait to see him have more screen time, or eventually having him join Leah's team, as unlikely as that might be. Bet you didn't expect this one, eh? Well, you can't go wrong with Melia in any context. Melia is a very buff and a very beautiful male version of our favorite amnesiac Leah. There ain't much to talk about this buff boy, as he's probably nothing more than a male version of Leah. But I thought he's worth mentioning for the sheer yes please factor he brings to the table. Next up, we have that gal in Bergen Village that sits on an iceberg. I'll admit, I didn't really notice her the first few times I went to Bergen, but now she's among one of my favorite characters, since she's on this list. You can't really talk to her unless you melt the iceberg she sits on, but when you do that, she scolds Leah for being hella disrespectful. I get it too. I'd hate to have someone melt my ice, especially if I was sitting on it. I love how Leah genuinely seems sorry, and I don't think many characters in the game have gotten that kind of reaction out of her yet. How can I forget this one? Well, I didn't, considering he's on the list. Here we have that one NPC that tells Leah to become water, and then laughs at her when she jumps into the fountain at Ricky Harbor. I'm not too sure when I met him, but I know it was a long time ago, and his sarcasm kinda stayed with me even to this day. Never change, random NPC, never change. And at last we have one of the rarest ones, Sir Rad Fish von Blub. Acting as the mascot for Radical Fish games, Sir Rad Fish was an NPC that delivered notes and messages to players for various things like ending the current part of a build, or showing off new features about CrossCode. We don't see him often anymore, but I reserved a special spot just for him. Keep being awesome, Sir Rad Fish. And with Mr. Rad Fish, I'm all out of characters. For now. Like I said at the start of the video, this list is taking place at build 0.9.8. Radical Fish Games has stated that the entirety of the story should be done at the 1.0 mark, and they're zooming towards that go faster than ever. I'm hella confident that I'll become more enamored with more characters as time goes on. And who knows, I might make a new list once the game is complete. For now though, please give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you aren't, and I'll see you all in my next video.